So it was an unpredictable race with, I would say, probably a predictable winner, but we got a lot to talk about. And if you can hear it, pardon the Aussie cover band. It's going to be going for a while. Hopefully that doesn't end in a copyright strike. Where do I even begin with this race? So I guess I'll start with second place finisher Pato O'Ward, who is now the championship leader after Alex Palou got taken out, and as did Scott Dixon, by the way, by Rinus VeeKay. Not the good kind of yeet, unfortunately. And championship implications, I think, are one of the major themes of tonight. At the beginning of this season, I kind of had Pato pegged as the guy that I thought was going to be far and away the championship favorite. And through the midseason, it kind of looked like he was falling off a little bit. I kind of looked at Palou and said, hey, I think he may be the guy to take the championship. And then, kind of as Palou has been having some trouble, I looked at Dixon and said, oh man, he's really consistent. Well, this race turned everything upside down. And oh, by the way, Joseph Newgarden won. So that also closes the championship up. Actually, had Herta won, it would have been even closer. I think at one point, Kyle showed me the points as they ran, and they were the top six were within 32 points. We got 3 races to go. So that's unbelievable. It's very, very wild what is happening in IndyCar this season. And for the first time in what feels like forever, I have absolutely no idea who's going to actually pull this championship off and win it. I love oval racing. Can I just say that? What a chaotic race this was. You had Graham Rahal and Ed Jones get taken out early on. You had Alexander Rossi push up and knock himself out of the race after looking at like someone who was going to have a legit shot of winning this race. Takuma Sato came out of nowhere, was competitive. Again, this is a track that Takuma Sato loves, and obviously he performed again just as well as he usually does. But I think one of the major stories to me, and ironically, I didn't talk about him at all last week. Not once, and he finished second. But I'm going to talk about him today because he finished 15th, but it was his first oval race. And before I talk about how great it was, I want to pitch it to an interview. You probably have already seen it on the channel, but if you haven't, I think it's great. Romain Grosjean on the pit wall just after his first oval start. Romain, electric drive in your first oval race. You were passing cars left, right, and center on one of those restarts. Can you describe that?
Not really. I don't know what happened. The car was working super well there, and I really enjoyed that. I had a lot of confidence, and that was really good. Later in the race, it didn't work that well because of the marble and so on, so I couldn't quite do the same tricks, but I'm happy with the way the race went. A couple of mistakes on cold tires put me in the marbles, lost quite a bit of ground there. But apart from that, pretty happy with the day, and the end result is not as good as I would have loved to, but I think we learned a lot and we did well.
Could you even describe what the sensation of oval racing is like to someone who hasn't done it?
Some part is really fun when you get past and you get a run. Some part are very boring. It's just in line and there's not much you can do. It's about managing yourself a lot, on what a car can do and what you can do. And I found that today. Probably at one point I got a little bit overconfident, and that's why I went in the marble. Luckily I managed to catch the car, but I lost a lot of ground there, and I guess it's just part of the experience.
The $1 million question, you want to do it again?
I don't know, right now I want hers to stop spinning.
And like I said in that interview, one of the most magical moments of this race was Romain really figuring it out and just coming through the field. Now, of course, in the interview you saw, he couldn't explain it, but I can tell you, as someone who's seen a lot more oval races probably than he has, ironically enough, that he had the right instincts there. Now, he certainly made some mistakes. He mentioned those. Got up in the gray, got up in the marbles a couple times. But I will tell you this, and I perhaps should have mentioned this to him. Alexander Rossi is a much more experienced oval racer, a guy who's won the Indianapolis 500 and at one point pushed up into the marbles and crashed. Romain Grosjean did not do that today. So I think that from a perspective of him putting together a race, I think that was absolutely fantastic for Romain Grosjean. Another driver who had a fantastic day, and a driver that I hope we give some adulation to, Dalton Kellett. I know a lot of people make memes about the guy. He's a genuinely nice person, and I will tell you what, he drove a fantastic race today, and hey, we got to talk to him. Here's that. Dalton, you ran in the top 10 most of the day today. I mean, describe your run, and that was probably as good an IndyCar race as I've seen you drive thus far in your career.
Yeah, that was a great race for us, and it's definitely days like this that make you keep coming back, right? It's like we've had a tough year. It's been kind of up and down, mostly down, and we really needed this. What's behind you there? We really needed this result here for the number 4 Kellett guys. I think as far as how our run went, the car was pretty hooked up. I think as it cooled down and gripped up, like the car felt a lot more connected through the corner, and just being really proactive on the tools, keeping the balance kind of where we needed it. And the only issue really was like I had a hard time getting a run out of 3-4 when I was with Romain there. He definitely had a better car through there and was able to get that run. Had that figured out a bit better, but 1-2, I felt like I was able to get some good runs off and make some stuff happen. It was a fun race for sure.
Yeah, it was interesting. The strategy seemed to be like, you had Bourdais running 14 laps, on a completely different strategy. I think I saw you pit early a couple of times. What was the right choice? I know you guys kind of got caught out by one of the yellows there, and that's ultimately what cost you a top 10 finish. You guys were right there.
Yeah, I think, we were on a kind of an early fuel save strategy. We went long on one stint, then a yellow came out. We were hitting a pretty good number, and then from that point on, the middle section of the race, we just said, we're going to run hard and see what we can do. Hopefully, get some clean air. Try to jump some guys. That did. It ended up that our second last stop was like with 80 to go, so we had to come in again. But as you mentioned, that one yellow didn't really help us either.
All right, an excellent finish, and we're looking forward to seeing you carry that momentum through for the rest of the season, Dalton.
Yeah, that's what we're looking forward to, and hopefully have some good results in the West Coast swing.
So. Again, I love oval racing, and I'm so glad that we get 2 more of these races next year with Iowa Speedway. I'm so glad this race was back under the lights. That was something that Kyle mentioned to me, that the race was so much better, so much more engaging, so much more interesting with the track temperatures cooler. It looked like, it did have a second lane. Maybe had a lane and a half. It wasn't quite what it needed to be, and it certainly wasn't, the kart short oval races of 1993. But I think, man, that guy just hit the worst high note I've ever heard in my life. I hope some of that got picked up. But this was a compelling enough race that I was invested the entire time. Gateway gets a great crowd. Gateway is committed to the series. They're running 5 more races on this contract. You guys got to keep showing up to these oval races, man. We got to keep supporting them. We want to, it looks like Penske Entertainment, Roger Penske, is making the commitment to put these tracks long-term on the calendar. We got to show up, all right? A lot of people showed up today, but it wasn't as good of a crowd as we've seen before. So I just want to make that point very clear. Again, a dominant Joseph Newgarden victory. It would have been a dominant Colton Herta victory. The guy had a half shaft go. Second race in a row for that guy, man. I feel so sorry for him. Got to talk to him briefly going back to his trailer, and he's taking it well, obviously, but he's taking it in stride, I should say. He's a classic guy, but man, it's tough. It's tough when a guy should have won 2 of the last 3 races, really probably could have won Indy too, and hasn't been able to capitalize. Probably going to take him out of the championship for this year. Joseph Newgarden, dominant again. Joseph Newgarden is dominant on these short ovals. I bet he wishes I bet you Joseph Newgarden wishes there were more short ovals on this championship trail, because if there were, 5 more, he would be a multi-time IndyCar champion. We'd never be able to take that one off of his car. But we'll see what happens over the next couple of races. Laguna, Long Beach, Portland, those are definitely Joseph Newgarden tracks. Those are definitely Scott Dixon tracks as well. So it'll be interesting to see if the Spanish assault, I guess we'll call it, of Palou and O'Ward will be able to mount a challenge. I think O'Ward I think they both will. I think we're going to probably have a 4-person championship fight to the end of this thing. It's going to be exciting. Not sure what I'm going to do yet coverage-wise in person. It's going to kind of depend on restrictions, whether I can cover an event better remotely versus in person. This race certainly wasn't This race had a few more restrictions than the previous 2 had, and I think it reflected in the coverage a little bit, and I'm sorry for that. Unfortunately, I tried to do as much as I could with the restrictions. But honestly, the last 3 races, I mean, again, I guess I'll say talk a little personal here. I was credentialed, so we got past that hurdle. I'd like to thank the folks at IndyCar for making my life as easy as possible. Honestly, these last 3 weekends, they've done a really good job, and it's been nice to work with them. Everybody flowing in the same direction. So I'm looking forward to covering more races throughout the next couple of years at the track in IndyCar. So if you enjoyed this coverage and want to see more of it, subscribe, join my Patreon, buy HelloFresh. We're going to be seeing some HelloFresh ads over the next couple of days this week. So look forward to that. But again, thank you guys so much for your support and for watching the coverage. And I hope you've enjoyed it at least as much as I have. We'll see you in the next video.